In every workplace, there is always one person. Everyone knows it. If something breaks, the person is called. If something is urgent, the person is looped in. If ownership is unclear, the person takes it. For a long time, many of us takes pride in being that professional, the dependable one, the reliable one with all the answers. And initially, it feels good. You feel useful, you feel visible, you feel needed. There's nothing wrong in that, also. Yet, this is often where career confusion quietly start beginning. Not because you are incapable or you are not doing something enough, but because you are always available with solutions. Isn't it? How dependability becomes a professional identity. Over time, an image forms at work. He or she can handle it. They always deliver. Just follow her approach and everything would be fine. You slowly become an unofficial benchmark for certain things for which you are responsible and for which you are not responsible as well. This pattern usually doesn't start at work. Most professionals were raised with a responsibility long before the employment. Don't complain, manage quietly, adjust and deliver. This doesn't start only in office, it also starts personally with your personal background, with the society or the community you are coming in, because those are the standards of a sincere, capable, dependable person. A person who could be trustworthy when things are not going along. So we enter our careers already performing, not discovering ourselves, but proving ourselves because this is how we have been conditioned somewhere else and this is working really well. And in office also you start looking the same thing. You start looking at yourself being available and being dependable on many things. Even if you think that you are saying no, still there are so many things which you still don't say no because you know that is going to help you. And nobody teaches this otherwise because this behavior has been passed down from generations. That is why conversations around calm, boundaries, and self awareness are often labeled as impractical and overly philosophical in professional settings. Then there are certain things which comes and changes our perspective. That bumps could be burnout from the work, quite resentment for a colleague, or loss of motivation and confusion despite doing well. You begin asking questions you never asked before. Why I am always one that taking responsibilities? Why do others step back so easily and they just dump all the work on me? Why does my career feel so heavy even when I am so competent? Why I feel so tired after doing something which I really love to do? This is where dependability start to look very different. So in workplace dynamics, you will notice three types of people. Those who genuinely need your support. These are the colleagues who are overwhelmed, they are learning and they are unsure. They don't ask loudly, neither they can delegate their work cleverly. They struggle quietly and wait for you to come to them and ask if they need help. Basically, they want to stay genuine, stay human, but they don't know how to get through this crossover. Comes those who strategically step back. Another group steps away not because they cannot do work, but because they know someone else will do. They lean from your drafts, they absorb everything you think, they use your execution as leverage, and when they are done, they move ahead, sometimes even above you. Rarely an acknowledgement because you weren't expecting the credit, you were expecting a collaboration. You were expecting like somewhere, sometime they'll do something for me. That's why they are very, very explicit about it. And that's where your confusion begin. Oh my god, the culture is toxic and the things are not going the way how I expected this company would behave. And sometimes it does happen. Sometimes there are certain organization controls which they are strictly following, but we still find such people also, but we cannot blame anyone. Now, the third one, when capability doesn't have any boundary. Many professionals don't suffer from the lack of skill, they suffer from access unregulated capability. You have a clarity, you have an execution power, you have experience also. So you give everything. You solve instead of guiding the person. You take ownership instead of sharing it. Okay, this is how it has been done and you do that. Instead of that, you take, I'll do it. You over deliver instead of setting limits. You package the work well as well. You make others look competent. And you don't take credit also because you think you were just helping. And because dependability becomes your professional identity somehow. But is it really dependability? Let's come to this uncomfortable realization. At some point, this hard truth is going to appear in front of you. This may not just be the kindness what you are thinking. This may also be people pleasing. Not out of weakness, but because being needed feels validating so much that we always kept performing, even we feel like we are very helpful, we are very kind. Is that wrong? No. But if it drains you, it must be examined, it must be filtered. So, what is the importance of filtering in careers? Helping someone without discernment does not make the career noble. It makes it leaky. You will start feeling somewhere you are draining your energy and you don't know why. Many people, many professionals invest deeply in people, projects and teams that do not align with their value or growth. They are just there because they are somewhere validating themselves, or they are just that person is flaring their ego and they are just being trapped with that notion of being the good person. And when that effort returns, it comes back as stress, politics, or invisibility. This is where an important shift also happens. Because career boundaries are not selfishness, it's not something where you are getting mean, but it is a strategic self-respect. If you are not identifying yourself, one place is being self-worth and one place is being self-respect. Self-worth is not equal to self-respect. Self-worth is knowing how much valuable you are. But self-respect is creating those boundaries which can help you from not being exploited. You choose where you have to be helpful and for what you have to be helpful. That's where the importance of filtering in career lies. How do we navigate through availability to an alignment part? It doesn't mean that you start becoming unavailable to anyone. It becomes a way of being conscious. Instead of waiting for work to arrive and then you decide whether to help, you align first. How do you align first? You will check where does my effort multiply, where I deserve more understanding, who deserve my depth, which environments respect my contribution and which environments could exploit it, where I have to use the filter. When this alignment happens, clarity starts becoming the major thing for you instead of people pleasing or instead of getting the validation from everyone. So you'll create a new way of being dependable. Being dependable is really a good quality if you are working in career priorities, because that is being created by trust. But you have to choose to whom you have to be dependable and to whom you don't have to be. You have to choose your boundaries. You cannot follow the same architecture of your household, your society, where everybody is trustworthy in some or the other way. But of course, you still know certain people where you don't have to overstep your work, right? So why in office? Not everybody is your brother or sister. There are certain people who are really looking to fill the gap what they had. And it's not wrong, but you know your boundaries because they don't know theirs. Now, dependability looks different when you work from clarity. There is no rush to prove. You are analytical about your decisions and it becomes your second nature. No announcement of capability. You decide where you have to pull the strings, where you have to leave the strings. No reaction to manufactured urgency. If there is someone who is coming to yaar, this is what you have to do, come on, do it, you can do it. That is the first no where you have to say. So this would be a task for you as well. Say one no where you are feeling like somebody is beating the hammer on your head. Just say no. Try it. It is going to be your best day, you know. Maybe you yourself could be beating yourself later, but who cares about later? You have to speak and you have to say no to that particular thing. What you are going to do for that is you have to observe the system, understand the culture, let presence speak before performance. When you start with that particular thing where you are not excusing कि नहीं यार मुझे यहाँ जाना है या मेरे पास बहुत काम है, just say no. Don't explain yourself. And that only brings a lot of presence in your mind. You'll choose the next thing and the other person would feel little uncomfortable because they are not able to access your power and you have taken control of your power. Trust me, taking back your power doesn't mean that you are going to leave the company. In fact, it is something which is holding on to you and you are not accessible to get exploited. If that is so much valuable that the person is ready to get angry on you, feel that how much important that part could be for them. Isn't it? Because in most of the workplace, these people are not villain. They are just predator of competence. Everybody has some or the other thing which is good and less as compared to the other person. But you have to choose if the person is really trying to support you in some or the other way. Or they are just taking it and absorbing it because you are ready to give it. And without boundary or filter. So my last words over here for this video is, if giving is not regulated, if dependability is not identified where it should be utilized and where it should not be, a career becomes so busy, but it is directionless. You drain yourself, you feel exploited, you feel everybody is toxic, which is not exactly the final solution. It is just an observation, it is just a situation, but there is no answer to it. So if you are a professional who is at crossroads, ask yourself, am I confused or am I simply overused? Am I stuck or am I carrying more than my role requires? Because clarity doesn't come from doing more, it comes from knowing where your dependability truly belongs. And that's where you have to check where you stand for.